All right, we back. Motor City Sports Talk, talking about the pros and cons for the Detroit Lions drafting T.J. Hockenson, tight end out of Iowa. Welcome back. Motor City Sports Talk, your boy C.J. Goodfella. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. Won't miss another video. And it's a lot of mixed reviews. I wouldn't say mixed reviews. A lot of angry Lions fans. There's some fans that's always jubilee no matter who the Lions pick over the years. And when they hear tight end or wide receiver, they instantly get out of character and they actually remember Charles Rogers, Roy Williams, Mike Williams, Brandon Pettigrew, Eric Ebron. People say, why do we bring in Jesse James? Why do we re-sign Toyota? That's what I call him, the backup tight end from Atlanta. Why we still got Mike Roberts on the roster, I believe. You know what I'm saying? Luke Wilson moved over to the Raiders. You know, why did we take Hockenson? Why didn't we take one of the defensive players? And a lot of people laughed at the Detroit Lions taking T.J. Hockenson. It's been a name they've been linked to. In my draft simulator, I actually got one right. I'll probably be 1 for 8 because they got 8, 9 picks in this draft or something like that. Probably be the only pick I get right, but maybe Quinn found value somewhere else. But we'll talk about each pick as they come and give our synopsis. And overall, we're going to do the overview for the draft when it's all done for. And I'll do the live overview for the Pistons. I just couldn't get live. I've been hella busy, but talking about the pros and cons of this trade, of this acquisition. A lot of before I get into pros and cons, a lot of this got to do with their history, them passing up on Donald and Odell Beckham this year. You have a guy that's similarly built to Aaron Donald, Ed Oliver. You passed up. Some people feel you passed up Montez Sweat. He was a little fragile in team meetings. That's what they said. So a lot of people are saying, oh, man, we passed up a potential great player in Ed Oliver, or we passed up this guy and that guy. Yeah, you know, it could happen. But guess what? You can't always let your past determine your future. Sometimes you got to, have balls and steals and trust your evaluation. And if your evaluation tells you that T.J. Hockenson is that guy, go with it. But historically, a lot of tight ends have been drafted towards the end of the first round or, second round and later. And I hear a lot of people saying, well, Green Bay was going to take him. Do y'all remember any similarities to last time? Green Bay was going to take Eric Ebron if the Lions didn't take him. Green Bay took somebody completely different. They didn't take Noah Fant. But neither one of their first-round draft picks. So that shouldn't even be a reason why you took T.J. Hockenson. Because whoever with Aaron Rodgers is going to tear you up to pieces anyway. So that's not a reason. People saying, oh, Green Bay was going to take... Green Bay was rumored to take Eric Ebron last time. They didn't take Noah Fant. They took somebody else. But the pros to bringing Hockenson in, let's start off on a positive note, is that good route runner. I think he got underrated speed. He only had one drop pass last season. And I thought he had no drop pass, so I think it's maybe one or no drop passes last year. Some people say, oh, he was the backup to Noah Fant. He was a backup to Noah Fant in Iowa. We got a backup tight end, but he's complete, smooth route runner, can give you some yak after the catch, football player, good blocker. Seem to be able to get deep. And he gonna run precise routes as he get more repetitions in the offense. And he seemed to be a good blocker. So this was more of let's add on to the run game, so we don't have to put Toyota in. And they know we run blocking, or we running the ball. Then we put Roberts in. They know we passing. This is kind of gives them what they looking for, a balanced tight end where he could be at the end of the line blocking, or he can play action to go out and catch a pass, or he can catch a pass. It gives you the versatility not to tip plays off no more. And a lot of times over the years, the Lions tip plays off. May have been with Theo Reddick in the backfield. Oh, we know they're not running it. They throwing it. May have been Toyota out there blocking. Oh, we know they 9 times out of 10, they running it. Oh, when Roberts come in, oh, they throwing it. Or Luke Wilson come in, they throwing it. So it kind of gives you the element of surprise. You know what I'm saying? With T.J. Hockenson in there. Big, strong kid. I know a lot of people say he didn't even start at Iowa. Noah Fant was a starter. Yeah, so what? But eventually he has some Gronk-like tendencies. Will he be Gronkowski? I don't know. Gronkowski went in the second round because he got back injuries in college and he was beat up. But it is what it is, man. I think it's some positives here. One thing about it, you draft a tight end at number 8, ain't no learning curve. He needs to come in and start right now and produce right now, and he gives Matthew Stafford a big target. Hopefully he can control the middle of the field. And do his thing. But other than that, seem to have a good background, seem to be a hard worker, seem to have sure hands, so it's not the drop situation with Eric Ebron. But then again, last year, remember they said Frank Ragnow didn't give up a sack in so long, and then he gave up a sack. So it's going to be a learning curve. It might be a drop here too. Him learning the playbook, learning how to learn the H-back position, learning the tight end position, and learning how to run some routes out of the slot position. Now, the bad thing about it is really nothing bad about TJ Hockenson. There's nothing bad that I can say about him. The bad has to do with the Lions organization, because you go back and you look at their history of tight ends. You know what I'm saying? It's been structural. With Pettigrew, he couldn't catch whatever situation might be. But Ebron, it's proven that the Detroit Lions did not utilize Ebron. They tried to fit a square peg in a round hole. They tried to make Ebron a timing pattern tight end when Ebron was a guy that get up and down, they get up the field. That's what Ebron was, a guy that ran the post route, the guy that ran the 9 route, the guy that ran the 9 route on the seams, the guy that his counter route is the comeback route, the guy that ran fade routes, post corner routes, double move routes. He's a matchup nightmare getting vertical. They tried to make a fast, speedy, vertical tight end, a timing pattern tight end. He's not going to be Antonio Gates. He's not going to be Tony Gonzalez. He's not going to run precision in and out routes, dig routes. They tried to make him into an intermediate short route timing pattern tight end, and it did not fit his identity. He's a guy that liked to stretch the field. And what scares me when guys come to Detroit is that the coaching is not there. It seems like they have no plan for these guys. He, like Darius Slay, he came in from Mississippi State, JUCO, then Mississippi State as a man corner. They had him out there his rookie year playing zone. He had no idea how to play zone. Why are we identifying players that don't fit the system? And my problem is you draft a tight end, but then you don't abuse him. You don't game plan for him to get the ball. If he ain't going to go out there and catch 5 or 6 or get 5 or 6, catch 5 or 6 passes a game, it was a waste of draft pick. If you don't come out here and start and make an instant impact at number 8, it could be a problem. It's to be a lot of pressure on him, because it was a lot of pressure on Brandon Pettigrew. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of pressure on on Ebron, because of the failures of Brandon Pettigrew. They put that on him. You know, he didn't get an opportunity to learn the position. He was drafted so high with so much expected of him, and he failed. So most of my problems have to do with the Lions. Will they game plan to get TJ Hockenson the ball and be creative, because they haven't been creative on how they game plan for their tight ends. And I know Darrell Bevel is different from Linehan. He different from Lombardi. He different from Jim Bob Cooter. But over the years in Seattle, he didn't do great things with Luke Wilson. Yeah, Luke Wilson got down the field and Russell Wilson scrambled and threw up a Hail Mary. Yeah, that did happen, right? It did happen, but it wasn't nothing by design in Darrell Bevel offense that made me believe that he going to do something different than what the other 3 offensive coordinators did with tight ends. And if they're not going to have Hockenson control the middle of the field, stretch the field throughout the seams, stretch it with the deep post route between behind the linebackers and between the safety, and he really not going to control the middle of the field deep and intermediate and shallow in all 3 phases, and then go outside the hashes on out routes and whatever, stick routes, whatever it may be. If he not going to control the middle of the field, it was a failure of a draft pick. I don't care how great the fuck he block. If he don't go in there and he commands double teams after a while, or people have to shadow him or pay attention to him in the middle of the field, and he able to stretch the seams and get vertical and work underneath and catch the ball and move the change, it was a wasted pick. And that needs to be done immediately. Not immediately, immediately. A little bit faster than immediately. And that's my problem. My cons with the pick has to do with the organization, has to do with the coaching, has to do with the structure, has to do with the offense. Will they game plan and make him a factor? If he can control the middle of the field and block how he blocked in college, Kerryon Johnson out the backfield should have a field day. Marvin Jones and Kenny Galladay should eventually see a lot of single coverage. Him and Amendola controlling the middle of the field should be the baddest tight end in slot combination in NFL. You know, so it has nothing to do with Hockenson. The talent is there. The Lions tear and they destroy, and they talent deteriorate from the inside because the coaching doesn't put them in position to be successful. It's all about the coaching here when it comes to the tight end position. So it is what it is. It's nothing wrong with TJ Hockenson. He might have some weaknesses, learning curves. That's rookie shit. All the cons have to do with the Detroit Lions organization as far as their coaching and putting players in a position to be successful. Don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out to the email if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video request, or you could just hit me up if you want to chop it up about something. Appreciate it. One time for the one time.